we are working to enhance the laptop store project from the YBY Python curriculum available at www.yby.in. Having improved, let's say, the inventory in terms of, let's say, the brand model mapping as well as the pricing. Now let's shift our focus to the user interface, which definitely there's a lot of room to improve. Uh, the first thing we look at is, the whole process of ordering. You notice the way we ask our user for preferences for different features, sort of one by one, is we just ask, for example, any preference of brand, any preference of model for CPU, for speed, and so on. Now this is, this basically can be improved in many different ways. One way that this can be improved is by making it easier for the person to be able to order by knowing what the options are. Because if I just ask what are the preferences of brand, how would you expect, let's say, the user to know what brands are available? Likewise for model, for CPU, and so on. Um, the good thing is that this information is in fact already available to us because, as we have seen, all of this is coming from lists. For example, we know the brands are, let's say, these, which are part of the master dictionary. Models are this, or in case you've done, let's say, brand model mapping, it could be, say, something like this. CPUs are only these three. Of course, there could be many more, but nonetheless, they're all coming from these lists. This information is already available to us, which means all we need to do is that, look, when we ask a question of the sort, any preference of brand, we just need to kind of insert in one more string over here, which tells us, okay, look, these are the options. In other words, we need to take, for example, in the case of CPUs, we need to take this particular list and convert that to a string with, let's say, slashes separating it. As we'll see, a very interesting method called the join method will do the job for us. So I get into my code here. Remember, we have already populated the inventory. Now it's the time to take choices from the, let's say from the player. And we do this, we create a dictionary called user choice, which captures whatever preference the user indicates. Now, what we'll do at this point, remember, is that, look, we are going to convert, that list from which these preferences are coming into a string. So I'm just going to create a string called pref_str, and that will be, I'll use join function. Basically, what this does is, what I'm telling Python interpreter is that, look, take a particular list, dot join, let's say master dictionary, and again kk plus, let's say, s. Now this should not really confuse us because remember the specs themselves are, for example, speed, storage, and so on, but master dictionary is storing them as, for example, speeds, brands, models, and so on. So that's all we are doing. Basically, we are saying that, look, take that specific list and let's say join all the items together by creating by placing a, let's say, a separation in between them. And having done this, I can just say any preference for, let's say, let's say for the specific feature, and I will add here, let's say, so probably a colon, and I think this should be fine. So I've basically inserted in, I've sort of added in here a preference string. Let's see this in action first. So you notice now it's a lot better. When I say any preference for brand, it tells me WDEL, WSS, WSS. So I know at least what to answer. Let's say I answer WHP. It tells me any preference for model. Right now it's just going with model AABBCC. Enter none for no preference. Maybe I'll just add although this is a problem because I've done brand model mapping, we'll fix this. Likewise, it's asking the CPU for, for all the, let's say I say none. You notice that it's become a lot more easier, lot more, let's say, user friendly to be able to answer this. I should have put none as the model because right now laptop WHP doesn't have model AAA. Now, what does that mean? It means that, so basically the mechanism is okay. Let me just create, let's say, a small little gap over here. Now, all I need to do is, look, when it comes to, let's say, the model itself. So, I can just create a statement here. If kk is let's say not equal to, say, model, well, then I do exactly what I'm doing. On the other hand, if kk is indeed equal to model, usually model we ask after we have asked brand, so we just have to find out what brand we are looking at. and accordingly we have to then call for the let's say the preference string. So what I will do is to do exactly this, um, but of course I will not use master dictionary anymore. In fact, I will use the list called models, and in this I'll index it with user choice, let's say brand, because presumably brand has been let's say created before this, and that should be really about it. So now when I run this, notice it tells me, look, your preference for brand, let's say I choose W Dell. The models that are offered to me are only those that are relevant for the brand W Dell. Let's say I choose, for example, Inspire, um, and I then give, let's say, no specific preference for anything else. So, the query is formed for me, and it turns out just one model meets my preference, which is kind of whatever it is, right? So it's 20,500 rupees, and those are the specifications. I hope this gives you an idea. This clearly makes the interface more, let's say, user friendly. But obviously, still there is a lot of room to improve this interface. We will do this in the subsequent videos. But in general, this approach where we build activities to illustrate concepts, we go and enhance those activities. I think this is a great way to learn Python programming. Look at our website www.ybyte.in, because that is how we learn programming at Ybyte. Take care. Thank you so much. Bye bye.